Yeah, I want to say yes. We want to create songs that are heavy, that are violent in a certain way without being really violent, but more powerful. Somehow, we are obsessed by recreating like the storm or the heaviness of a mountain or a wave crushing with sound. This is kind of what we want to do. Artistically, we have that fantasy, that thing, that quest almost. It's funny. We want to create something powerful and mean. But with the years, we're taking off layers of oh, we want to sound like that band, but we don't want to be that band, but we don't want to. Wait a second, just play the music that we want to hear, and that's what's happening today. But we don't have rules. We don't want to belong to a certain genre or a certain community, musical community. We just want to be ourselves as much as possible and have fun and create something that we think is powerful. And it doesn't necessarily mean keep doing what you were doing when you were 16, or like you gotta sound like Death or Morbid Angel. Like we're just trying to be ourselves. The only rule that we have is to not betray ourselves, and I think we're doing that. Yeah, it's exactly like a friendship. You have a friend when you're a kid, and it's a friend that matters for life. You will always remember that friend. You still love that friend, but you move to another city with your parents, so you don't see that friend anymore. But it's still part of your story, your structure, and without that friend, you wouldn't be the same person. We still love death metal. It's part of us, and we don't feel like we turned our back on what we were. It's just part of our life was filled with death metal, and that was our excitement at the time. And then we discovered new things, and then we changed, and then we grew up. And some elements are still there, but yeah, the music changed with us, and that's the beauty of doing this. Being a musician, it's like you're exploring. I never really quite understand why it's such a big deal to people when singers start to sing or when bands do different things. I can't understand it. Like all these conversations and discussions and questions, I'm like, what's the big deal? We're rock bands. That's what we do. We do whatever the fuck we want, and people write about it like, "Oh my God, they did that, and they never did before," And it's for me, it's just what the essence of being in a rock band is to explore and to do unexpected things and to be mean or to be super sensitive or to be this or to be that, you know what I mean? But just be who you are. It's cool if people don't get it or are mad, but it's just such a great feeling to be able to interact with the world in this way. It's great. We're more friends with our music now today than we were in the past. We're having more fun playing it. It's in a way more challenging. It's way more challenging. There's more dynamic in our set now, and even technically, it's really difficult vocally and musically. It's more difficult than before, and I know it seems the total opposite, but now it's more. Everything is more subtle. We're just following our instinct, and at some point we wrote about a bunch of songs, but we were in that state. We were a bit fragile. We're a bit, I was still building my studio. We're trying to figure out how we're going to record the album. Are we going to work with a producer? Are we doing it ourselves? And then while we were thinking about all these things, we were writing songs and riffs, and some songs came together. But somehow I think after we decided, okay, let's do this record ourselves, like in the good old days, let's go back to the roots. And it's funny because there's a paradox there, because a lot of people think we're selling out on this record, but in fact it's like really it was so organic, it was so made in the secret of our little nest there in a practice space, and it was totally unorthodox. And at some point we had a bunch of songs, but after we decided, okay, let's do it, let's do this record, like let's make it our best record ever, and we decided to write more songs. And let's see what we can do, because we're getting better and better at writing stuff, and it's more interesting, and it's more progressive, and it's more adventurous, and we have all these cool sounds. Let's do more songs. So next thing you know, we had 20 songs. So we just picked the best ones, and it happened to be the ones we did at the end. That's what's happening. You know, we have dreams, we have intuitions, we have weird ideas, or we're jamming, and that's how things come to us. We never sit down and go, you know what, this album is too proggy and we should be more death metal, or we're doing too much of this, too much of that. It's mostly really intuition. We're like, you know, like swaying and listening and talking and like playing without looking at each other and recording for hours. And then, you know, it's very organic the way it comes, like it happens. We don't collaborate with anybody too, or sometimes we do, but it's so rare. We did it on L'Enfant Sauvage, but most of the time it's really this family vibe, you know? And we know each other so well too, the four of us in the band, that it's even hard to bring someone in to film when we're working. Sometimes we like to film a documentary on an album, for example. It would be really interesting, but these moments are so precious and difficult to organize sometimes because of our schedule and geographic reality. When we get together, it's a really, really precious moment. Since I became a dad, like priorities for me changed, and also I see life in a different way. I'm more in peace with whatever I am, you know, whatever I'm becoming, and I have love in my life, and I have friends, and I see like there's more important things than that. But music is still my number one obsession, but somehow there's a relaxation around it now, you know. And let's do a good album that, you know, that is honest.